Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and today I've got three things to talk to you about here. The next crypto bull run, why it could dwarf what we saw last time, late 2017. There are a number of reasons for that. This next bull run, whenever it happens, if it's the start right now, it could put the last one to shame. Okay, we're also going to talk about briefly about an XRP-backed stablecoin. It's fascinating. And we're going to talk about competitor Stellar. They had a not so good day the other day, and they the entire blockchain went down for a couple hours. You couldn't send or receive anything. And given that their software, the XLM token, is a copy of XRP that was tweaked in a few different ways, it'll be interesting to talk about that. Compare the two. Is XRP at risk also? So I'm going to cover those things. This is just a fun one. This is from Toshi Times, and I know the market has pulled back, at least as I'm recording that. It's pulled back a little bit today. I had this pulled up here. What are we at? Not down that much. We're at $245 billion market cap. XRP currently at 41.5 cents. Bitcoin trying to get back up to about 7,800 per BTC. So, not the end of the world. You expect, markets don't shoot straight up endlessly. There's always highs and lows, and then there's the test of support, and then there's resistance. And so there's a couple interesting parts I wanted to share with this. I read this whole thing, and I'll link, of course, like I always do in case you want to read the whole thing, but there are just a few little parts that I found the most fascinating that are relevant to the topic I really want to talk about, which is what's going to happen in the next bull run here, and what could cause it to do what it ultimately does, whether good or bad. And so check this out. Let me start with this part here. The next crypto bull run could, in fact, potentially drive the price of Bitcoin even higher than $20,000. This is mainly because a lot has changed since late 2017. First and foremost, the public awareness of cryptocurrencies is substantially larger this time around. Awareness is the first step towards acceptance and, ultimately, adoption. What's more, FOMO, which is fear of missing out, could play a large part in fueling the next crypto bull run. And side note, I would argue that it absolutely caused the last bull run that we had. I mean, what family around Thanksgiving wasn't talking about the crypto market in November 2017? Do you remember that? Did you do it with your family? That and even Christmas. It was just like that's all everybody seemed to want to talk about. And you may remember after Thanksgiving, the day after, like the market just exploded even further because people that had talked about it and they're like, oh, okay, decided to jump in they heard about it from their family, and it's fascinating. So yeah, fear of missing out is absolutely a real thing, and markets aren't rational anyway. Okay, whether it's not just crypto, by the way, but it's not just crypto; it's markets in general. You can look at the stock market, for example. The buying and selling of that, it's not purely based on fact. There are rumors, this or that, fine. You can verify performance of companies, okay, super duper, but humans are still being humans, and there's these crazy run-ups and then crashes, and it's based on emotion. Think about what happened in 2008, the financial crisis. Was it rational for what was it, a 40 or 50% market sell-off? Was that actually rational? And then those poor people that sold, because they're afraid selling on the way down. And then look what happened over the course of another decade. What did the market do? You put in money in 2008, it would have quadrupled. And fine, you bigger returns in crypto, great. But what I'm saying is people panic sold, they were out, and then they missed the rally over the next decade. And so the emotion that is in the buying and selling in these markets, it's not the emotion. It's not only in crypto. It's just in markets in general because humans are humans regardless of what asset class they're buying or selling. Okay. All right, so moving on. The market has already validated a $20,000 price point for Bitcoin at one time. This will likely entice casual investors to take part in the next Bitcoin rally in the hopes of surpassing $20,000. That's a fair point. Furthermore, the cryptocurrency market's long bear market trend has given cryptocurrency and blockchain firms the time to improve their fundamentals. This means that there is significantly more cryptocurrency infrastructure in place now than 1.5 years ago. And that's perhaps one of the most important points. And we'll get down here. Let me read one more quote, and then I'll tell you what I wanted to really get at here, because I think this is one of the most important points to make. Here, and this is a quote from, what was the guy's name? Dan Hedl. Okay, so he's kind co-founder of the crypto asset portfolio firm Interchange HQ. And here's a quote from him on Twitter. In the last Bitcoin bull run, we didn't have Cash App, Fidelity, E-Trade, TD Ameritrade, Bakkt, Arisex, or Robinhood. Imagine what this bull run is going to look like. And consider that a couple of those businesses, they are managing assets outside of crypto in the trillions. So this adds credibility, absolutely, to the crypto market. We already know, for instance, just to pick one of these guys, Fidelity, they entered, it was earlier this year, they began offering custody solutions for crypto for institutional purchases. There was an article, which I don't believe I covered, but it was earlier this month, and there's a rumor that Fidelity is going to be launching a service for buying and selling. May just be Bitcoin. It said cryptocurrency, but maybe just Bitcoin. And it would be, the rumors that it would be specifically for institutional buyers. And so look, it's easier for institutions to jump in. Think pension funds, and there are all sorts of other institutional type buyers. But the point is, if it's easier to jump in when this happens, what's going to happen? So, like, is it going to be purely retail that drives this? Is it going to be purely institutions that drive this, or a blend of the two? Will one piggyback on the other when the action starts moving one way or another? And you know, furthermore, I think back to 2017, and if you were there in 2017 in December, my God, especially if you were just jumping in, trying to get registered on a new exchange so that you could actually buy and sell crypto, man, God, there was a backlog. Like, to get on Binance, they shut down. Like, they stopped accepting new customers. Think about that. There was so much activity that they were turning down customers. And they weren't the only one that were having trouble with this. It's just the amount of activity and interest in crypto in general is just unprecedented. And so I think that because a lot of money seriously couldn't get in, Mike, imagine if it could have. Because we peaked at about, what was it, 820, 840, whatever it was, 800 and something billion crypto market cap. Can you imagine if the rest of that money could get in? Had those people been able to register, had people been able to get money from their fiat currency, from their checking accounts or saving accounts into crypto? Oh my God, it would have been so much higher than what we ended up seeing at the towards the end of 2017. And so a lot of things are different. There's a lot more awareness. There's more credibility at this point. And the longer crypto lasts, mind you, it's been over a decade that it's been around at this point, the more it becomes clear that it is not going away. There have been bubbles within crypto, just like there have been bubbles within any number of asset classes. Bubbles do not mean scam. Bubbles do not mean fraud necessarily. And so, yeah, bubbles have popped, but if anything, I'd say the U.S. stock market is more of a bubble than crypto right now. My gosh, we've been in a bear market all this time, and now you got the stock market at all-time highs. If anything, I'd put my money in crypto over not financial advice, please, not financial advice. Seriously, I have no financial background. Just a Joe Schmo talking with some, hopefully, a lot of XRP people that are listening. So anyway, I'd rather put my money into crypto than the stock market right now, for sure. And the stock market's made gains this year. I can't remember what the percentage. What did I read? I'm drawing a blank. I don't know if it was 10. I've read so much today. I don't know if it was 10, 12, 14%. Whatever it is, it's up, and that's super duper. But crypto's up way, way, way more. I think. What did I read on crypto? Something like 120% as of. See, and that's the thing. It's changing so quickly. I don't know if that's an article that was published yesterday that I read today or came out today. The point is, it's a lot, though, okay? And so it's neat to see. And what's this going to mean for XRP, which peaked at somewhere close to $3.80? Well, look, Bitcoin's still leading the market, and okay, so even if a lot of these custody solutions like Fidelity and TD Ameritrade, even if they're only offering custody, and even if they only end up at the beginning when they do offer buying and selling, even if it's only Bitcoin, understand that's going to attract a lot of attention to the entire asset class. And so, consider January 2017, what was Bitcoin at? About 1,000, and then it ended the year. The high for 2017 was close to 20,000. Which would have sounded absurd. If you told somebody that's what was going to happen January 2017, they would have smacked you upside the head. So look, what can happen to Bitcoin this time? What can happen to XRP? Me, and probably you if you're listening to this, because this is like an extra XRP-focused crypto channel at this point, you're probably most curious about that. I'm not going to put in a number because you know me. I do not do price predictions. But I can tell you there are others out there that, and I can't reasonably say they're wrong, but some people are guessing anywhere from like $30 to $50 per XRP. And so there's good and bad about that, even if that were to come to fruition. Understand that if that happens during the next bull run, that's going to be another situation where it's based almost entirely on speculation, retail speculation, and actually now institutional speculation, not primarily based on utility. Interestingly enough, XRP is the most useful coin that there is. It's actually being used, it's displaying actual utility, but the adoption of the technology is taking a long time. It'll snowball at some point, but right now it just takes a long time for it to actually be adopted. And so the next bull run we have, if it's at any point within the next few years, or if it's even starting now, any price action we see is going to be because of that, and then it'll probably crash back down quite a bit. Maybe we'll see whatever height it gets to, even if we're in the trillions in the next crypto bull run, it's going to come crashing back down. So, I think here's what I'm looking forward to. I wish I could look decades out, because at some point, retail speculators, while they will always be irrational, same as with the stock market by and large is going to be far less volatile, or is far less volatile than crypto. I think at some point you're going to see crypto reach that point. I'm excited that we're not there yet, because I got in so early and there's greater opportunity for greater returns early on, super duper. But I'm looking forward to seeing which coins have staying power. I firmly believe, based on all available knowledge, in May of 2019, XRP is going to be one of them. So what's the price of one XRP going to be worth in a couple decades is even more interesting to me than what it'll be worth in the next bull run. Even though I'm interested in that too, just because it's fun, and I am invested in XRP, and it's okay to be excited about stuff like that. Just make sure you're investing rationally. Don't put in more than you're willing to lose. That's the only investment advice I'm going to give you. Beyond that, talk to a professional, because a professional I am not when it comes to this. I'm an enthusiast that likes engaging with fellow XRP community members, and that's that. But you can tell me what you think below. I don't have too much to say on this, but I thought it was cool, so I had to share it with you. There is a stable coin called USDX, which is backed by XRP, and I learned this because of Bank XRP, who on Twitter is @BankXRP. Very active community a member, and somebody that I follow. And so he wrote, USDX is an XRP-backed stablecoin. The USDX stablecoin system is implemented as a Cosmos zone designed to peg in XRP, issue an XRP collateralized token, USDX. And then there's this link here to Kava Labs. So, and I had actually talked about Kava Labs in the past, and I pulled their website up. I'm not going to talk about them again in this video, but feel free to check them out. And here, it sums it up what they do right here. The shortest way you could possibly sum it up, but there's a lot more to learn. Interledger solutions for blockchains, wallets, and exchanges. And that's neat, because Interledger, obviously, the Ripple people came up with that, didn't they? So that's some cool stuff here. Last thing I wanted to talk about here, and this is from Cointelegraph.com. Stellar node outage causes 2-hour complete transaction freeze. Dun, dun, dun. And of course, as I cited at the beginning of this video, Lumens, which is XLM, the Stellar coin, it's a copycat of XRP, but there are some differences, and I don't know all the differences. I know some of them. For example, while XRP is deflationary, you know that every time there's an XRP transaction, a small, tiny fraction of one XRP gets burnt, permanently erased every single transaction. XLM, on the other hand, is actually an inflationary currency. There's no final market cap. More actually can be created, and that's a major difference. And that was a sticking point Jed had. He's one of the original XRP architects, and that's one of the reasons he wasn't so thrilled with how it went. From what I've read, there are other internal reasons. He didn't. I don't want to get too much off the beaten path here, but he didn't agree with the path that Ripple was headed down, and so he left and started Stellar. I'm pretty happy with the path Ripple went down. I don't know about you guys, but I think the partnerships they developed are amazing. But anyway, so let me read you just a couple little parts from this. Blockchain network Stellar, XLN, stopped confirming transactions for 2 hours on May 15th. That's yesterday. Executives confirmed following a user post on social media. Stellar, whose Lumens token is currently the 8th largest cryptocurrency by market cap, went down entirely for around 110 minutes Wednesday. The cause, it appears, was a mass offlining of Stellar Development Foundation SDF nodes, which is the majority of the network trusts. Okay, and so that's why at the beginning, when I cited, at the beginning of this video, I cited, okay, XLM, Lumens, that's a copycat of XRP. Is XRP in danger of this also? The short answer, no, because look at why this caused. Because you understand probably, I've covered it in previous videos. You may have already known outside of that anyway. In case you don't, though, Ripple, XRP is a decentralized cryptocurrency. The XRP ledger is completely decentralized, and XRP has a voice within that ecosystem, but they have minority control. And I didn't check the how many nodes I control prior to recording this video, but it's a very, very, very small percentage. And so the problem that occurred here would not happen. It just would not happen with XRP. And there's a good point here. And it doesn't mean that, okay, so people they could lose trust in XLM as a result of this, possibly. But there's a point made here, and I do believe it's true, just to be fair here. There's a couple things. Well, that's not the part I want. Well, whatever. I remember. I'll just paraphrase it. They stated that basically, as the network gains more users, it would be less likely for this to happen anyway. And they didn't cite this, but I think the reason would be increased decentralization, because to whatever degree any blockchain is decentralized upon launch, it doesn't necessarily stay that way. I would definitely argue that XRP has become substantially less decentralized over time, while Bitcoin has become more centralized. And so I'm not saying that XLM is garbage. I actually do own some of it, not too much, but I do own some XLM. And so we'll see. Is it actually going to cause people to not have trust in the system? Well, I can say this. As soon as it came back online, the price spiked up. I can't remember if it was like 20% or something like that. It may be in this article. Or here, yeah, look, right here. XLM saw significant volatility around the time of the outage, nonetheless recovering to surge 23% in the 24 hours to press time. That's crazy. So they go down, proves the technology maybe isn't quite where it should be, and let's put money in it when it comes back online. Freaking crypto is nuts, man. Crypto is absolutely nuts. So anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks so much for listening. And if you would please consider subscribing if you haven't, and if you'd tap that thumbs up, I would definitely really, really appreciate it. Appreciate all the support I get on my tiny little channel here. But I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea.